Hello, and welcome to another video with me, Annani Kelley, PhD, Heliopsychology. There is a great deal of conflict going on in the world right now, and I had considered doing another video on heliopsychology and aggression, but I'm not going to do that. Instead, what I'm going to focus on today is heliopsychology and space travel, or rather, consciousness and space travel. So, this video begins with a quote from Isaac Asimov: "The stars are not for man." Why do I say this? Why do I quote him? Why does this video start with a quote from Childhood's End? But first, it's all about the energy, and I'm not going to get into all of this. You can pause the video and read all of these things. They are in the previous videos. I'm going to try to keep this one short because technology and the internet has ruined everyone's attention spans, and I understand that. So, my main focus is on consciousness and what happens if we travel outside the Earth's magnetosphere, outside the sun's heliosphere, because we're talking about space travel recently. We're talking about traveling to Mars. We're talking about traveling outside the solar system. So the very first place we could probably get to is Mars. But beyond that, we can't. We can't because of time. We cannot travel outside the heliosphere because of fuel. There's so many reasons why we cannot travel outside the sun's heliosphere. But this video wants to address what happens if we can reach the point where we can actually achieve interstellar space travel. So, what happens when we leave the sun's heliosphere? We don't know. We've never done it. And we are organisms, the human organism has evolved on this earth within the sun's electromagnetic spectrum. So we have no idea what will happen when we leave the sun's heliosphere and what other solar systems might be like, because solar systems may and probably will have different electromagnetic spectrums. Will our consciousness survive in the void with galactic cosmic rays? Because we know that galactic cosmic rays can cause serious health issues. There's plenty of research on this. You can look it up. Spaceweather.com, for instance, has some research on galactic cosmic rays and high altitude pilots, etc. Anyway, moving on. And how would our brains react to different solar, stellar, star electromagnetic fields? We don't know because this is the only one we've ever been in. So, our heliosphere, for those who do not know, the heliosphere is the giant portion of our solar system that is solar wind, it's magnetic fields, but it's if you think of our solar system like an egg, the heliosphere is like the shell. No, like the yolk. And then the heliopause is like the shell. So we reside in the very center of all that. Humans are so close to the sun, relatively speaking, that we haven't even gotten close as humans, as space travelers, as potential voyagers in interstellar space, we have not reached the potential even of getting past the Jovian planets. We haven't even reached the heliopause. We've gotten to the moon as humans, but getting further than that, even Mars, requires some level of logistics that is beyond what most people understand, because getting to Mars requires our understanding of how galactic cosmic rays and solar flares can affect consciousness. So, again, we are in the heliosphere. I'm sorry, this is just a really horrible image, but this image represents the Earth's interconnectivity with the sun. And we are not even remotely this close. This is a really horrible image. It's Creative Commons, which is why I'm using it, so I would not infringe on copyright. And like in that center, it kind of looks like the USS Enterprise. We'll just ignore that for now. I mean, I do like Star Trek, but for the purposes of this video, what I'm trying to get across is that our consciousness relies on the solar electromagnetic field. We do not know how our brains will respond to other electromagnetic fields. We have some idea based on some of the research that was done in the 50s, 60s, and 70s through various psychiatrists and psychologists that were doing hands-on experiments, either using electrodes or magnetically null chambers. So we do know that the brain is dependent upon a stable magnetic field, and any alterations in these fields can cause alterations in our perception of consciousness. The planets we may one day possess, but the stars are not for man. And the reason why stars are not for man is because our brains have evolved, strictly speaking, to our sun. It is a bitter thought, but you must face it. As I said before, the planets you may one day possess, but the stars are not for man. Isaac Asimov. And this is a quote from Childhood's End, as a matter of fact. So, how do we approach space travel? How do we approach travel to Mars? At least in going to Mars, we know that we will be within the sun's heliosphere. But beyond that, we have no protection. We have no idea how that length of travel would alter consciousness or alter behavior. We just don't know, because there is no situation on Earth, whether it is a Faraday cage or a magnetically null chamber, that can mimic a complete dissociation from the sun. Because even if you are on the nighttime side of the earth, your body is still receiving the energy of the sun, because of the way solar energy enters the poles and then propagates around the planet. So there is the UV light on the daytime side of the earth, but on the nighttime side of the earth, you get a lot of the electromagnetic field effects from solar energy. Leaving this protective field, leaving the earth, leaving the sun, being in a place where you are exposed to galactic cosmic rays, which we know are hazardous to individuals, we have no idea. We really don't. So I think Space travel is an endeavor that needs to be like reined in. And I don't mean necessarily reined in total, but to be kind of persuaded back until we know what space travel and galactic cosmic ray influence will cause. Because we really don't know what will happen to humans in these long space flight future travels, you know. Our consciousness evolved with the sun because of the sun, and it is highly unlikely our consciousness will survive in a cogent, sane way in another solar system, especially another solar system that has vastly different electromagnetic field propagations. It may drive us insane. It may cause us to go just completely out of our minds. We may just fully die. We don't know what would happen in those cases. And until we can fix ourselves, I really don't think that space travel should even be an option at this point. Look at what is happening in the Middle East, what is happening in Iran, what is happening in Cuba, what is happening everywhere. Until we can reach a point of civility in ourselves on our own planet, there is no point in pursuing a space travel. And I think this bears repeating even for space travel because we really don't know anything about it. So, why or why not? Why do we feel certain things or not doing certain things during space weather activity? But we may feel this in space as well. You know, we may feel this with galactic cosmic rays. Why or why not? So, do males or females have more symptoms from cosmic rays, galactic cosmic radiations? We don't know. You know, we don't know how age may affect that. We don't know how illness or medication may affect that. And certainly, magnetically active region habitability will not affect that if you're on like a spaceship. I don't even want to say that word because it sounds foolish. But if you are traveling through space and you are on a ship, you are on a spaceship, right? And you will not be in a magnetically active region at that point. Nor would you live above the 42nd parallel. You just wouldn't. You know, you'd be on a ship floating in space, which is why I'm making this video because I don't think for 1 second, I do not think that human consciousness can survive outside the heliosphere. I think if we achieve the ability to leave the heliosphere via fuel, via wormholes, via some radical invention in science, that even if we were able to do that, we would go crazy or we would die. Okay? We would, because our brains are geared to live in this environment. And once we leave that environment, I think our brains would start to degrade, for lack of a better term. So, again, in the works, as I say every time, I'm writing a book on heliopsychology and I'm also creating an app. I'm not going to go through the apps. Here's part of it, here's another part, here's another part. I've gone through that in my previous videos. I'm not going to get into it now. This was mostly just on consciousness. The hows and whys of heliopsychology will be in the future videos. How to read the sun, discussions of relevant research, updates on solar activity, and answering questions from viewers. I am not monetized. If you want to see more videos like this one, please like, subscribe, and comment. If you would like to collaborate on a future research project, certainly reach out to me through my personal email, which is dr_helio@mail.com, or through a YouTube messaging service. If you would like to support my channel and research, consider donating via Venmo, Dr_Helio. I do have a potential research project coming in the works. Someone did reach out to me to collaborate. We'll see what happens with that. And as always, thank you for watching. As this is the weekend leading up to St. Patrick's Day, I hope you have a very green day on St. Patrick's Day. Thank you for watching, and we will see you soon.